third shot. The third. The first two I definitely was way above the bag, but this thing fires straight. That's awesome.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Outland Harry. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We aren't out there adventuring and checking cool things out. Instead, we're in my other shop, my home shop. And I thought we'd make a bow and arrow. Now, I have a cherry tree on my property that is probably going to come down because it's not in the best shape. And I seen this perfect limb to make a bow and arrow. I thought it would be cool to make a bow and arrow and put it up against my semi-pro recurve bow just to compare. Now, it is fairly straight and it's got a good thickness to it so that we can carve out the shapes of it. It is full of knots, but what do? It's going to be a character bow. As kids, my dad did teach us how to make bow and arrows when we were camping for 2 to 3 weeks at a time in the bush. So don't jump in the comments and say that I suck at making these things, because it has been a number of years and I'm not claiming to be a professional at this. It's just mostly an experiment and something to do because it is very rainy out. And the last video, I shot 2 of them in the rain, and I figure, why don't I take a break for that and work inside or shoot a video somewhere dry. Anyways, I don't really know where to start with this. I might pull my bench over and clamp it down and start the process of debarking it. So I got a side clamp on my workbench here, and I think I'm going to put it in there. I think. Start with that. Might end up holding it and debarking it. My trusty rusty old hatchet. Now, I don't know if this is the right tool to use. I used to just use a knife as a kid. So we do have a fixed blade here. I wouldn't suggest using your favorite knife for this. If you tend to try and make something like this, I would definitely go get something like this. It was from Cabela's. It was on sale for like $9.99. They come sharp. The metal's not very good, so you don't really feel bad when you wreck them. This is a premium grade hatchet that I've had for a number of years, and I've sharpened the edge again. And I think this will do the bulk of the work, and then we'll do the fine tuning with the knife. Measurements. Now, these things should generally be between 57 to 62-ish inches. And I think the most we'll get out of this one, because of this bend in here, I think we'd be lucky to get 57 inches. So it's going to be slightly on the short side, but it's okay. We're going to call it a character bow. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm also going to build a shelf, and I'll show you guys that later if you don't know what I mean, because I want to make it a center fire bow. I'm sure I'll do a better job of explaining that in a bit. What I'm going to do is start on this side. As you can tell, it's got a hard bend here. Probably going to lose 2 to 3 inches of that. So I'll start there, just kind of shaping it. Never said I wasn't going to use power tools. Just going to make this a little easier myself, because I don't want to spend 19 days doing this. Another side note here, I don't know if you guys can tell in the video, but this wood is green. I did just cut it a few days ago. It's still wet. So you definitely want these to be cured. I haven't decided if I want to put it through a little bit of heat treatment over the fire in the backyard here, or just kind of let it naturally dry. When you go to use it when it's wet, it might take a different shape after you've fired it 20 or 30 times. I'm not overly concerned, because like I said, this is just more or less of an experiment to see if I can even do this and if it's going to be fun or not. part's done. I got the bark off. First things first, we're going to be a pro and clean as we go. And then I'm going to kind of draw out the shape with a pencil on here, mark the center, and then kind of feel out here how I want to do this. Okay, so I took a good chunk of it off with the axe and the knife, and then I got sick of that. And I cheated. I used a grinder for like the other portion of it. See its shape coming now. And it's got pretty good, got a good amount of flex. I'm gonna check the tillering on it after I kind of carve out the center. Well, I'm gonna make it a center fire bow, so I'm gonna carve out a little notch here so it has an arrow rest, and then carve out a little spot for your hand. I'm gonna cheat again. I'm gonna make this cut for the seat with a power tool. Maybe this one. See how this goes. What I'm going to do is check this center point to the center of my arrow rest. Hopefully that the string line is pretty close. The center, from center limb, you want that rest to be right on the center of that string, which it's damn close, guys. I honestly pretty much fluked out by that. I've never really been good at this part. I'm not even really good at bow making, and I've clearly cheated. But you want to take your time with these because you don't want these to get too weak because all the stress is going to be right on these limbs here, right in the end. So if you get too carried away with it, it could break off. But you also want the string to sit nicely. And I'm not doing the best job at it right now. I'm just going to say once more that I am not a bow maker and I'm not teaching you how to make a bow. I'm just simply a guy with too much time on his hands and has a big curiosity of how this will work out. See, because when the string gets tensioned, you want these grooves to kind of go down with it. So now we're going to check the tiller action on it, see how the limbs bend, if they bend evenly or not. You can tell this one bends more of an arc than that one. So I'm going to take more material off of this guy here. In this range here. Getting closer, starting to look like a nice perfect curve. I don't know if you guys can see it, so maybe I'll pull it this way. You can see this one's got more of an arc than this one, so I might take a little bit more off that limb there. You're getting pretty thin there. We gotta set our brace height. Usually you want around 6 to 7 inches in between here. We're at 4.5. So it means I gotta tighten up the string a bit. Okay, I'm gonna call this good for now. I could work on it a bit more, but I don't want it to get too weak by taking off more material, is make it a lower poundage of a bow. So now what I'm gonna do, I have a bow square. I want to go just 1/8 of an inch above the arrow rest. That's kind of what I do with my other bow, so I'm just going to go with that. Like I said, guys, I am not a professional archer. It's just a hobby, and I am just playing around. So where you want to knock your arrow is on this side here. So pretty much in this area. That's where you would want to knock your arrow. I'm just going to mark that with a Sharpie. There's like knock stop things that you can get that crimp on, but I couldn't find them, so I'm just going to go with this. There. It's a good, just a reference when I'm firing it. This is a pound tester. See how much poundage it's pulling. So the lowest point on this tester is 15 pounds, so hopefully it surpasses that. So you pull it full draw. Let's see what we got. Look at that. 32 pounds. You should do this 2 or 3 times and take an average. That time was 34. That time was 32. That time was 34. So why don't we say 33 pounds this bow's at. Sure, that'll change as the wood dries too. But that's it, guys. That's pretty neat. Well, guys, I gave it a quick sanding. I'm gonna bring it in the house to dry out because it still wasn't fully dry, even because I cut it off like 3 or 4 days ago. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it in the house, and tomorrow we're gonna test it against the recurve. So I'll see you tomorrow.